What do you think, guys? I only have so many outfits, so I'm saving the best outfit for part 6. But I wanted to bring you something, so I got this for you. I knew you guys would really enjoy it. I know there won't be any complaints. Woo! Holy crap! The past couple of weeks have been totally crazy. I want to say thank you to everyone who supported in the Henrik Hauschildt situation. I will show you that if you are unfamiliar with that situation. You go to www.williamsandwilliamslawfirm.com and you go to Help Us Save Henrik. We have a situation that I would like your help with regarding one of my clients, the other party, AG Texas Farm Credit Services, decided they were going to, without any sort of court order or anything, attempt to take trucks to his property to repossess his cows. And boy, that pissed me off. So, yeah, you don't see me doing stuff like this on my other cases because my other cases are with people that are actually keeping it within the confines of the court system, which I don't have a problem with. You take it outside of that, I'm going to get pissed. Okay. This is a whole story about when I was young, what was going on with me, because I grew up on a farm, and then we got my buddy Henrik, my client, and then we introduce his family and his farm, and then we talk about what's going on with the litigation that we're currently involved in. If you can support this campaign in any way, this video is going to be up for God knows how many months or years, so it might not be relevant in a while, but for right now, it's really important if you guys could come here and read through this, and if you could support financially or non-financially, it's okay, either way. Any support you can do, everything that's requested, and all the support is here, and you can look on here and you can see everything. And if you can help or support in any way, it's very, very appreciated. And I've gotten many, many, many dozens of emails and information and stuff about people who have helped. And it's very, very, very grateful to all of you. I created a give, send, go for Henrik. And as of right now, it is up to $6,012, which is fantastic, very helpful. So I want to say thank you very much for that. Second thing I wanted to talk about is a good friend of mine, Anthony, just released his second Dad of the Year. So he has his own, this is a guy I actually know personally. He actually runs all of the crews in the landscaping company that I have. His name is Anthony. Great guy. He has his own metal silver coin and small bar and stuff like that. And he actually started minting his own coins. And you can see here, it's Dad of the Year. And it's pretty funny. Again, I don't condone violence. You guys know that. I'm a peaceful man. But I know a lot of you guys are going to enjoy this. I enjoy it for comedic value. Again, I do not support violence, but I really enjoy Anthony's work, and I do think that this is a pretty fun. It's all fun and games. I just want to be very clear about that. But I do want to promote Anthony's work. I have a bunch of his stuff here on my desk. I'll show it to you. The quality it's very cool. So it comes in a little container like this, and it has a special little card. It has I think a sticker inside there. It comes with a coin and its own little plastic container, and then it has special numbers, serial numbers. The quality is just unbelievable. And Anthony, same with all the landscaping company stuff that we do and all the jobs. He is a real stickler for quality and detail. And I'll show you guys a couple of these, because I know a lot of you guys like silver coins. A lot of you guys go to like JM Bullion. I've bought a lot of things from them. I have, coins all over the place. But, just an alternative, a guy who's doing a lot of cool things. He's filing a lot of cool papers. He's doing a lot of the same stuff. He's going up against Capital One and a bunch of other stuff. And he's kind of an up-and-coming guy, trying to build up his silver company, and I just think that he does really good stuff, and I want to show you guys this. I'm going to take it to the camera. And then he just released a new one here with Gary, I forget his name, Gary, let's see here. I can't help but laugh. I love it. I love his work. It's so cool. He's got the numbers and the serial numbers and the trading cards, and it just kind of reminds me of my childhood, the trading cards. And like I said, I don't condone any violence. Not a violent man. I don't think anyone, but I do like the work, and I do have to admit the guy who what's his name, Gary, whatever. I mean, I understand. I mean, if I was in that same situation, I don't know, I'd probably do the same thing. So it's hard to judge someone when something such horrible happens to their life, But, you guys know where I stand on that, on violence and stuff like that. So, but I wanted to show that to you. You can find that and a lot of other cool things. I don't have any, just real quick, I don't have any commercial attachment to this, and I don't even really want to. I just kind of did this because I just wanted to help out Anthony. He just came and visited me, and we talked for a while, and I just really wanted to help him out, so I thought I'd put a nice plug in here. And I know you guys are looking for high quality silver coins, and I think it's cool to find somebody who can deliver that to you. Super high quality coins, but they're part of what we're doing, and they're a part of the movement, and they're filing things, and he's got a lot of things going on, and he's really, really active, and he's just a really cool dude, and a big part of what we're doing, and he's just really active. So I think he's a great person to support if you can support him and what he's doing. The website is preciousmetalscollective.com, and he's also on Instagram. I believe it's precious.metals.collective Instagram. Yeah, precious.metals.collective. And he's got some videos here that he's made that are they're kind of horrible in a way, but they're also pretty funny. I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyways, wanted to give Anthony a little plug there. I've been going through a lot. It's only been a week since I released part 4. It feels like a month for me. All hell has broken loose. It's been a very exciting rewriting things and sending out novations, and the Henrik thing exploded, and there's a state case now, and there's an eviction case now, and there's a conspiracy where AG Texas is working with the landlord. It's just like a nightmare. So it's been pretty wild. That's just why I released that press release, to try to get them to realize that we mean business. So you got a lot of cool things happening. We've got an appeals case there, all sorts of other things happening. So much, it's just crazy. I just did a video with the Sultan of Soljamistan. That was a lot of fun, if you guys haven't seen that yet. And yeah, we're just trucking along, my friend. Let's see that butthole. All right, so let's move on to this. We've got UCC Article 3, Part 5. It's a shorter. It looks like it's a shorter section, so I hope we can get it done here pretty rapidly, because I'm just not in the mood. I'm still kind of recovering from everything that's happening. So, but it's like I think about it all day long, every day, getting these out to you guys. So I just really wanted to get number 5 done, and then number 6 is the last one, which also looks pretty short. We know 3-603 like the back of our hand, so that'll be good. So let's get rolling. 3-501, presentment. Presentment means a demand made by or on behalf of a person entitled to enforce an instrument. By or on behalf of presentment. To pay the instrument made to the drawee or a party obligated to pay the instrument, or in the case of a note or accepted draft payable at a bank, to the bank, to accept the draft made to the drawee. Okay. So a presentment is a demand made by or on behalf of the person who essentially originates it, or the creditor, or whatever you want to say. So when they send you a bill of exchange, another term for that, it appears here, would be presentment. I received your presentment in the mail, and it has been accepted by delivery. Thank you very much. Now remember, hita. We talked about hita on I think, video 3. Hita? Someone was saying hita. Now remember, hita, come back to me. Remember, hita is great. Hita is so cool. So it's holder, endorsement, tender, acceptance. Remember that? Hita? It's great. It's like first grade Sesame Street level. It's super perfect. So again, let's cover that again. It's probably the most important thing we've covered so far in this whole mini course, however you want to say it. So holder, endorsement, and endorsement means performance and payment. Endorsement, performance, and payment all mean the same thing. So you can say endorsement / payment / performance. It's all the same shit. It's all the same thing. I endorsed it. It's the same thing as saying I paid it. I endorsed it. Same thing as saying I performed. If you say I performed, that means I endorsed. If you say I paid, that means I endorsed. It's all the same thing. I'll keep saying it until you guys get it. It might take thousands and thousands of times. That's okay. I'll say it thousands and thousands of times, okay? Then tender. So tender means offer without stipulations or conditions. Just take one of my, I got my Confederate notes here. We should cover one of these too real quick. These are freaking cool, right? These are real Confederate notes that I bought from an auction. I got all sorts of stuff all over the apartment, coins and notes and all this stuff. And I'm going to start collecting more and more of these old notes because I like to read them and clear up all the words on them and look up some of the stuff as to what was going on that caused all this to happen. And it's really fascinating. But so tender, here's tender. Here you go, sir. Tender, right? And then acceptance. And what does acceptance mean? Do you know? Delivery. Tender, acceptance. You see? Tender. This is a different arm of a different person, like across the table or something, or through the mail. Acceptance. I mean, if you really want to get crazy, if you want to get like Bill Nye the Science Guy, who, whatever, maybe not the best example, but if you want to get really, really crazy about it, Fox Mulder from X-Files, yeah, hell yeah, that's a good example. It would be like tender, and then like literally, this isn't quite delivery. This is not quite delivery. This is delivery. If you want to get like batshit crazy, I mean, I will fight like hell in a court, and that's what I'll do. I'll literally be like in front of the judge or in front of the jury, and I'll be like, tender. We don't have delivery yet. It's not delivered yet. Delivery. Boom, right there. Like literally, I'm sitting across from the loan officer of a bank, and I got mortgage documents in my hand, and I endorse the document, and I go like this, or I slide it across the table, and literally as soon as they take it, and as soon as, I mean, we're talking the fucking nanosecond that my fingers are released from that object, and that object is stably in the hand of the loan officer, that's it. That's delivered. It's accepted. It's done. That cycle, hita, has been completed at that point in time. Now they're the holder. Okay? Let's look at these real quick. We got, what does it say here? Fundable in Confederate States stock bearing 8% interest. It says here, Confederate States of America will pay $100. This is from 1861. Oh, bro, check this out. You're going to like this. You know, you guys can read all this shit now because you'll understand it now after this video series. Look at this. Confederate States of America will pay $100 to bearer, and then you have two signatures. Richmond, Virginia. Look at this. I'll show you guys the rest of it so you can take a look. It's very fascinating. You guys think I love these all these people are, oh, they're just going to change all this shit on us, Brandon. 1861, brother. 1861. This shit ain't going fucking anywhere, brother. Not going anywhere. All right, let's get back into it. Presentment means a demand made by or on behalf of a person entitled to enforce an instrument, to pay the instrument made to the drawee, or a party obligated to pay the instrument, or in the case of, it's pretty much just, or in the case of a note or accepted draft payable at a bank to the bank to accept a draft made to the drawee. It's like a tender. Presentment is like a tender, I guess. A demand made by or on behalf of. You have the bill of exchange, and then you present the bill of exchange. That action of presenting it is a presentment. I don't know. That's what I get from this. This says here the following rules are subject to Article 4, agreement of the parties and clearinghouse rules. I don't really think I want to get into all this. Person making present message. This is a little bit interesting. Person making the presentment must exhibit the instrument, give reasonable identification, and if presentment is made on behalf of another person, reasonable evidence of authority to do so, and sign a receipt on the instrument for any payment made, or surrender the instrument if full payment is made. Interesting. Sign a receipt on the instrument for any payment made, or surrender the instrument if full payment is made. That's an interesting line. I'm not too sure about that. That sounds pretty interesting. I'm not too sure exactly how to make out that one. Sign a receipt on the instrument for any payment made, or surrender the instrument if full payment is made. Interesting. Without dishonoring the instrument, the party to whom presentment is made may, 1, return the instrument for lack of a necessary endorsement. Okay, duh. If you don't endorse it, then there's nothing they can do with it because they don't become the holder. Hita, remember? Hita is great, man. I'm telling you. You can just bust up these bar cards like there's no fucking tomorrow. Just Hita alone. Just Hita. Wait a second. Was it ever endorsed? Okay, was it tendered? Okay, was it accepted? Okay, who's the holder? Just Hita. Hita alone, it can crack you infinite money. Okay, that just if there's only one thing you step away from this UCC course, it's Hita. Holder, endorsement, tender, acceptance. Just memorize that. Okay. So yeah, you can't tender something that has no endorsement. Duh. Makes sense, right? Hita. Hita is beautiful. It's like one has to come first, and then you have to be the holder to endorse. You got to endorse to tender. You got to tender to accept. And after acceptance, you become the holder. Somebody else is the holder. Somebody else is holding it. There's really no way around it. It's just you're H, I, T, or A. You're somewhere in there. And you have to H before you I. You got I before you T. You got a T before you A. And then you A to the H. It's kind of badass. It's a pretty badass acronym. Right? 2, refuse payment or acceptance for failure of the presentment to comply with the terms of the instrument. Actually, I think about this one. It's kind of interesting. So if they return the instrument, you could ask them, are you returning the instrument as per UCC 3-501 subsection A3? Are you returning the instrument because the instrument is lacking a necessary endorsement? It'd be kind of rhetorical if you know it's on there and you know it's correct, then that wouldn't be possible. But you could just ask them just to be a smartass. 2, refuse payment or acceptance for failure of the presentment to comply with the terms of the instrument, an agreement of the parties, or other applicable law or rule. Refuse performance or acceptance because the presentment fails to comply with what the instrument says it needs to be in order to be presented properly. Something like that. It's kind of vague. It's just like if you can't do it that way, then something. This is very vague, but the party to whom presentment is made may treat presentment as occurring on the next business day after the day of presentment if the party to whom presentment is made has established a cutoff hour not earlier than. Okay, that's just not too much. We're not going to do that. Okay. Dishonor. 3-502. Dishonor of a note is governed by the following rules. Ooh, this is going to be good. So let's just stop here. So what they're saying here is the following rules tell you when your presentment that you're sending in a note or sending back a bill of exchange, these are the only times or situations when they can send it back and say no. They say we don't accept this kind of payment. Okay. So that's just irrelevant. We don't accept that kind of payment. Totally irrelevant. They're saying we dishonor what you have sent us. If you think about it from the legal term, that's what they're saying. When they say we don't accept this kind of payment, blah, blah, and all the horse shit, and they go on and on and on with all their fucking trash, irrelevant billables, irrelevant trash, you can translate in your head, they are saying that the bill or note that you have sent them is dishonored. Okay. So now we're going to look at what are the rules of dishonor. This is really important, right? This is how you win lawsuits really easily, in my opinion. I haven't won one yet, but damn well I'm going to be doing it for the rest of my life. So I'm sure in the next 60 years of my life or whatever, I'm sure I'll get one. Joking, I'm definitely going to be winning one very soon in the next year or so. But here are the rules. 1, if the note is payable on demand, the note is dishonored if presentment is duly made to the maker and the note is not paid on the day of the presentment. Okay. So if you send in an overdue bill or note, now keep in mind with this one, let's say you cross out the date of when it's due and you hand write payable on demand, or you hand write a different date. Well, if an instrument contains contradictory terms, typewritten terms prevail over printed terms, handwritten terms prevail over both, and words prevail over numbers. So what's stopping you from just crossing that out and writing payable on demand? Or writing a different date? I don't think there's anything. Plus, keep in mind, you can always say, hey, I wasn't able to pay that last bill of exchange in time. Can you please send me another one with a new day I want to perform? It's not that complicated to get around this one. Number 2, if the note is not payable on demand and is payable at or through a bank or the terms of the note require presentment, the note is dishonored if presentment is duly made and the note is not paid on the day it becomes payable or the day of presentment, whichever is later. Still, we're still on dates. which can be, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, can just be handwritten over. I don't see why not. Okay. So we've got dates, not typically an issue that we run into. Dates, most people know that, you need to perform by a certain date. Well, then you perform by a certain date. It doesn't require rocket science to figure that one out. If the note is not payable on demand and paragraph 2 does not apply, the note is dishonored if it is not paid on the day it becomes payable. So again, it's just dates. It's literally just don't pay past the due date. That's all. That's 1, 2, and 3. So, we're going to get into the rest of this, but we've already got. Okay, so if it's a note, if they're rejecting a note, then the only way they can reject it is based off of timelines and due dates. That's it. Period. End of story. That's what we learn. That's what we're learning here. If it's like, oh, okay, so like they deny a note, okay, well, so what aspect of the date or due date or payable on demand are you upset about? Like what's that's the only thing to talk about. There's nothing else to talk about it according to 3-502. You can't dishonor it in any way. You see how you think about this stuff? They can only say no under certain conditions. If you learn all those conditions, you control the playing board. You control the game. You see? So the first 3 were all about notes. Now we're getting into bills of exchange, unaccepted draft. Draft and bill of exchange mean the same thing. Unconditional order to pay, unconditional order to perform. A ticket on the side of the road is an unconditional order to perform. Be in a certain location at a certain court at a certain time and date. If a check is duly presented for payment to the payor bank, otherwise than for immediate payment over the counter, the check is dishonored if the payor bank makes timely return of the check. Okay, so time. There's more time. Time. I'm not even really too sure. I don't think this applies to anything that we're dealing with, so I'm just going to skip over that one. I do not want to be on this video for very long. If a draft, I need some time off, guys. I'm telling you. If a draft is payable on demand and paragraph 1 does not apply, the draft is dishonored if presentment for payment is duly made to the drawee and the draft is not paid on the day of presentment. So again, we got time. Everything's time. See that? Time. Oh, we don't accept this kind of payment. Okay, where in the fuck is time in relation to them sending you, we don't accept this kind of payment, we only accept U.S. dollars? These are U.S. dollars, you stupid fuck! U.S. dollars are defined as unconditional promises to pay and unconditional orders to pay, otherwise known as debt instruments. That's what U.S. dollars are. They tell you straight up that coins and silver coins and gold coins are not U.S. dollars anymore. They're pretty clear about that. A check and a draft, these are all bills of exchange, so it all fits under a bill of exchange. There's a whole bunch of other things. It's all the same shit. It's a bill of exchange. So what's a U.S. dollar? It's a promissory note or a bill of exchange. How is a promissory note or bill of exchange exchanged? HITA, endorsement, tender, acceptance. How can it be dishonored? As far as I'm concerned, we're most of the way through this, and there's only one word that defines dishonor, and it's time. If they don't have some kind of time, we're going to read the rest of this, but so far I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, okay, if there's no time-related dishonor, it's not dishonored. And you sue for breach of contract. It's not dishonored. If you tell me the car doesn't run, and I look over and the car's sitting there and it's running great, and there's no smoke coming out of it or nothing, and it sounds fantastic, you're full of shit. You tell me that a note or a draft is dishonored, and you don't say anything about time, and you're just a dumbass, you're a dumbass. You're fucking retarded, and we're going to handle it, and it's not going to be fun for you, okay? It's very simple. It's very, very simple. Number 3, if a draft is payable on a date stated in the draft, look at this, date, more time stuff. The draft is dishonored if, 1, presentment for payment is duly made to the drawee and payment not made on the day of the draft becomes payable. I don't even know, like, we can get into all the I just see time. Time. Becomes payable and the draft is not, okay, so before the due date or whatever, it's very simple. 4, if a draft is payable on a lapse of a period of time after slide or time. Okay, good. If you want to get into all the specifics of time, I don't really see the point. It's not, we're not dealing with this as an issue. This is not an issue. People know already in this fucked up world that you perform before the end of something. It's like not fucking, this isn't rocket science. Okay. So, Oh, that was for an unaccepted draft. And this is for an accepted draft, which means delivered. If the draft is payable on demand, the draft is dishonored. If a payment is duly made, accepted, and the draft is not paid on the day of presentment. If the draft is not payable on demand, the draft is dishonored if presentment is... So if you're ever dealing with a time-related issue, that's pretty much the only way we can get dishonor. If you are dealing with a time-related issue, if they bring up a time-related issue, come in here and start digging hard into this. This is where you're going to find the answers to those kinds of problems. But I'm not going to get into all that. It's just going to be a long, overly complicated conversation. Okay. In any case in which presentment is otherwise required for dishonor under this section and presentment is exercised under 3-504, dishonor occurs without presentment if the instrument is not duly accepted or paid. Not totally sure on that one. What is 3-405? Excuse presentment and notice. So we're probably going to get more into that. If a draft is dishonored because of timely acceptance of the draft is not made and the person entitled to enforce consents to late acceptance. So more time. Time. Time is not a problem we're dealing with. It's just they just don't accept it, quote unquote, this kind of payment. So fucking funny. So impossible. These fools think they can do whatever they want. They think they can just say, fuck the law. Loo. Nope, we don't accept that kind of promissory note. We only accept this one over here. And you're like, wow. Notice of dishonor. The obligation of an endorser and the obligation of a drawer may not be enforced unless one, the endorser or drawer is given notice of dishonor of the instrument. So if they are going to dishonor the instrument, they have to give you a notice of dishonor. They're saying, oh no, this is dishonored. It would be kind of like something along the lines of, oh no, this is dishonored because you performed after the due date of performance. That would make sense. Okay, I get that. I'll accept that, right? Notice of dishonor may be given by any person, may be given by any commercially reasonable means, including an oral, written, or electronic communication, and is sufficient if it reasonably identifies the instrument and indicates that the instrument has been dishonored or has not been paid or accepted. Yeah, so they're saying that any party can write a notice of dishonor, and you can write a notice of dishonor on them for not accepting the instrument. That's what I get from this. So you can actually write a notice of dishonor on them. Some people do that. I don't think anybody knows that's how this works, though. I think they just, but you can do a notice of dishonor, and you can write it on them for has not been paid or accepted. Has not been accepted. Okay? I mean, you can just write that and just send it, and just that's all part of your preparations for litigation. I mean, because they're not going to do a goddamn thing about it. They're going to ignore everything you send them. So it's all just building the case. Everything we're learning here is just how to build the case, because they're never going to perform. I mean, in the future, at some point in time, I'm sure they will, when they get bashed upside the head enough times. But for a while, they're probably not going to perform. So you guys are going to need to figure all this out and build these cases like what I'm doing if you want to get them to perform, okay? So with respect to an instrument taken for collection by a collecting bank, notice of dishonor must be given, one, by the bank before midnight the next banking day, following the banking day, blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyways, whatever. That's not important. 3-504. Excuse presentment and notice of dishonor. Presentment for payment or acceptance of an instrument is excused if the person entitled to present the instrument cannot with reasonable diligence make presentment. If they can't find you, they can't make presentment. Number two, so that's just an example. I'm just giving an example. Number two, the maker or acceptor has repudiated an obligation to pay the instrument or is dead or in insolvency proceedings. Interesting. This is interesting. I mean, okay, like when I was doing part number 3 and we were going into the UCC ones, I was doing a lot of research on that over the past several days because I started filing some UCC ones. And so a UCC one has to have, both parties have to be in agreement. That's why a lot of people get in trouble with liens. I know I told you in video number 3, be careful about liens. I went on a whole research thing in this last week and I figured all that out for you. We can go ahead and come back to me. So the way that liens work, and I'm not going to pull all this up and try to find all this right now, but this is how it works. So both parties have to be in agreement. So the creditor and the debtor, so like you'll see a document, like one of my clients, Henrik, the guy who we're doing all this stuff with, he has an actual document, and it goes down, and then the last page says notice of security interest, something like that. And then it says the following are collateral, and it says the collateral on the loan, and then there's a signature of Henrik, right? So the creditor says there's this debt and there's going to be this collateral, and they're very clear as to what the collateral is going to be. And then the debtor also agrees, right? Now, let's say you say this person over here owes you money and you want to lien their house and this and that. The problem is that if there's no prior security agreement or contract where they agreed to that kind of collateralization or they agreed to pay a certain thing or whatever, you have to go to court and get a judgment. And then once you get the judgment, then you can file the lien. And then when you file the UCC1, it's called a judgment lien, basically at that point. You would file the judgment lien, and then after that, you would tell the person, hey, I've got this judgment lien now. You need to pay within 30 days. And then after the 30 days again, now you're going to go to the court and you're going to get a court order. I forget there's an actual term for it, to go and start seizing all of the property listed in the collateral that was listed on the UCC1 and in the security interest agreement, right? Now, that's the full process. That's what the banks do. That's what you can do. Everyone can do it. Homeless people can do it. People who are crippled, you can do it. Anyone can do it. This is not a bank-only thing. This is not a lawyer-only thing. Anyone can do that whole process I just explained to you. That's exactly the process we're going to be doing. And I'm super excited about showing up with 15 phones on one giant thing, and we're going to be with the sheriff, and we're going to be kicking in doors and taking cars and computers, and it's going to be an absolute blast. So, but the thing is that, there's two different terms, okay? So you'll see this term perfected and unperfected security interest. Perfected means that it's filed in a way where you can take legal action to enforce the obligation, right? Now, as far as I know, the only way that you can file something in a way where it can be legally enforceable to enforce the obligation is through a UCC1 financing statement. So as far as I can tell from all the research I've done the past week, perfected means that you have the security interest or the judgment. All the collateral was explained either in the security interest document that was signed by the debtor, or in the judgment. It explains what the collateral is. And then you file the UCC1 to perfect that security interest. So it's like the security interest, there's no teeth. And then when you file the UCC1, now all of a sudden, boom, you've got a full set of teeth. That's the way I think about it. Unperfected is there is no UCC1, there is no teeth. Perfected means that there's teeth, there's a UCC1. I hope that makes sense. You guys should definitely go down that whole rabbit hole for yourself, because that's all I did after video 3 and 4 the past couple of weeks, or past week. I've been doing a lot of research on that, and that seems to be what I've come up with so far. I filed my UCC1. I had my client file a UCC1. I've had some friends file a UCC1, but that's only because now I finally understand it. For example, if you have your own company, you can just write up a security agreement between you and your own company. Or, I don't know this to be a fact, but it's like if you can answer on behalf of the debtor and the creditor and you're both parties, then you can file a UCC1. Because the creditor says yes, the debtor says yes. Okay, well, you have an unperfected security interest. And then now you want to perfect that security interest, and then it asks you who the debtor is and who the secured party is. On the UCC1, the secured party is the creditor, and the debtor is the person who owes it, and then you have the collateral that you list in the UCC1. UCC1 is extremely simple. If you can answer for both parties, I don't really see filing a UCC1 to be all that risky. What's risky is when you file a UCC1 on another party that wasn't in agreement with the security interest. And honestly, even if they had like an email where they said, "Oh yeah, no problem, bud," even that, I'd be hesitant to file a UCC1 on that. I would want like a document that says security interest. This person is getting 15 bales of hay from me in exchange. The collateral that I want is the lawnmower, the John Deere lawnmower, just the one. It's a 2016 John Deere 2600, or I'm just making shit up. Now he's like, oh yeah, I'll put up the lawnmower as collateral. No problem, buddy. Now you sign the security interest. You've written up this tiny, it could just be like a handwritten thing. It doesn't need to be anything real crazy. It just says what I just said. Very simple. I'm giving you 15 of this, 15 whatever, and you're going to pay me back. But in the meanwhile, you're putting up this tractor, this lawnmower as collateral, right? And then he's like, oh yeah, I'll sign to that. He signs it. Now you have a security interest where the debtor and the secured party both agree on the security interest. You see? Now let's say, oh, he told me he was going to give me the tractor and he never did. Okay, can you prove the security interest on that? You don't have anything. Now at that point, you're going to need to go into litigation. You're going to need to get a judgment. And then once you have the judgment, then you can file the UCC1 and perfect the lien security, and then you can start levying and get your tractor, okay? I hope that makes sense. That's a lot of what I've been researching. That's kind of how it works. So that's the, in video number 3, I said, don't do it if you don't understand it. Now I feel more confident that if you understand what I'm saying in this video, and I'm not showing you all of it necessarily word for word, you should go and dig a little bit for yourself and look up some of the words and look up unperfected security interest and perfected security interest and UCC1 financing statement. And another thing you should do is that I did is go on the UCC Secretary of State website and just start pulling up UCC1s. You can pull them up. It's all public information. And just start looking at a whole shitload of UCC1s. You can see how they're written. You can see how the collateral is worded. And that's what I did. I just started looking at a whole fuck ton. This is really fascinating. Going through. So look at a lot, like really but I'm telling you, I'm pretty damn sure what I've explained in this show is kind of how it works. And you can feel a little bit more rest assured about filing one. I mean, definitely file at your own risk. I definitely recommend that you very carefully understand everything I've said in this show, and you go out and do additional research before you start filing UCC1s. Again, it's in the third video, I was like, whoa, this is really, really dangerous. It's not really, really dangerous now that I understand it more, but it is an area that you don't just go out and start doing it. You really need to make sure that the creditor and the debtor are both in agreement. That's why, people like Chris Hauser and these guys went to jail, because they were filing liens on judges and all, and the judges never agreed to any of this. This is all just craziness to them. So that's when it becomes a fictitious lien. And you've seen a lot of this kind of stuff, a lot of like the anti-sovereign citizen pages and public relations press releases and websites, and even the ADL and stuff, I believe. They talk about how they use, sovereign citizen type people. They use these fictitious liens, and you've seen this in a lot of it's actually true. That is actually true. A fictitious lien, if I had to define a fictitious lien within the confines of a lot of what we're trying to do and the quote-unquote sovereign citizens, of which we are definitely not, the definition of a fictitious lien would be a lien filed on a debtor that never agreed to the security interest. If I had to give a definition for a fictitious lien or an illegal lien, that is basically how I would file it, how I would define it. So I'll give that definition again. It's a lien, a UCC1 specifically, so an attempt to perfect a security interest where the debtor never had any agreement at all on the collateral. That would be like my definition of like an extremely bad, dangerous, illegal, possibly very, very serious penalization on you lien. So as long as the debtor and the creditor agree, then as far as I'm concerned, you're pretty safe to move forward with a UCC1 to perfect a lien security, security interest. So that's it. You just ask yourself, are the debtor and the creditor both agreeing to this situation? And if you're not too sure, then you would say to yourself, well, if I was pulled into a court of law and I had to prove that both the creditor and the debtor on this particular UCC1 are both in agreement, do I have any proof to that? If it's a hard question to answer, or you're not really too sure, or you're a little bit iffy about it, yeah, I wouldn't do it. If it's your company, your trust, it's real easy. Yeah, it's my trust. Trust says yes. I'm me. I say yes. Bingo. Very easy. Very, very easy. So I filed one on the all caps name. You can also do between the ens legis and then your name. You can do it between persons. So you have two persons to deal with too. So you can UCC one between those two. You can UCC one between the all caps name and a trust, or your human name, or however you want to say it, your man name and corporation. They're all persons. So between any person, it could be between a trust and a corporation. It could be between a corporation and a corporation. It could be between a partnership and an individual, which we redefine to mean only men and women. You can do it however you want. You could do it between the you as the man and the ens legis. You could do it between you as the man and the corporation. You could do it between you and as the man, or as the ens legis and a corporation. You could do it any way you want to do it, as long as there's two persons, as per the definition of the word person. You got it. So I hope that makes more sense. It makes more sense to me. So getting back to 3-504, excuse presentment and notice of dishonor. Presentment for payment or acceptance of an instrument is excused if, we already went through that one, by the terms of the instrument, presentment is not necessary to enforce the obligation of endorsers or the drawer. The drawer or endorser whose obligation is being enforced has waived presentment or otherwise has no reason to expect or right to require that the instrument be paid or accepted. So that's pretty obvious. If they say, nope, this is all done and we discharged it, then you wouldn't have a presentment. Duh. That's pretty simple. Drawer instructed the drawee not to pay. So if they told you don't pay. This is all pretty simple. Notice of dishonor is excused by the terms of the instrument. Notice of dishonor is not necessary to enforce the obligation of a party to pay the instrument. Or 2, the party whose obligation is being enforced waived notice of dishonor. A waiver of presentment is also a waiver of notice. This is just like if they say, fuck it, like you don't owe this anymore or something. Just, again, a lot of this stuff, we're not going to run into this shit. I don't think we're going to really run into this. Delay in giving notice of dishonor is excused if the delay was caused by circumstances beyond the control of the person giving the notice. If your house burned down or something. So excuse presentment and notice of dishonor. I don't really think we're going to run into a lot of this. Insolvency proceedings. When you're in bankruptcy, you guys know that already. When you're in bankruptcy, they can't collect debts and fuck with you and send you bills of exchange. That comes from this, apparently. Whatever. I'm not going to get too much into this again. Just trying to get this. I'm not trying to skip over important things. I just don't really see a lot of this as being terribly important. So, but you can look at it again. The whole point of a lot of these videos too is just to hold your dick long enough to get you to come in here and look at a lot of this stuff too as needed. So I'm not here I'm here to hold your dick, not suck you off. There's a big difference, So, hold your dick a little bit and then you can jerk yourself off. That's kind of the whole point of all these videos. You guys should know that by now. That's what I'm trying to do. I can't stroke you all the way to the finish line. You guys know that. You guys want me to, but it's never going to happen. You know that. So even my clients work their asses off, as they should, because I'll tell you right now, by the time my clients, you should see my clients, man. They're growing up like fucking. They're growing into fucking real warriors. They're getting some real fucking hair on their chest. By the time we're done, no matter what fucking happens, they're gonna be fucking juggernauts. No one's gonna fuck with these people, bro. It's gonna be so fucking badass. Anyways, okay, 3-505, last section. Do want to wrap this up here as quickly as possible. Evidence of dishonor. The following are admissible as evidence and create a presumption of dishonor and of any notice of dishonor stated. Interesting. The following are admissible as evidence and create a presumption of dishonor and of any notice of dishonor stated. A document regular in form as provided in subsection B, which purports to be a protest. A protest is a certificate of dishonor made by a United States consul or vice consul or a notary public or other person authorized to administer oaths by the law of the place where dishonor occurs. It may be made upon information satisfactory to that person. The protest must identify the instrument and certify either that presentment has been made or, if not made, the reason why it was not made, and that the instrument has been dishonored by non-acceptance or non-payment. The protest may also certify that notice of dishonor has been given to some or all parties. Wow, Jesus, fuck. This is fucking wild. Okay. So if you, I'm just going to roll with this. If you write up a little affidavit and up top it's titled protest, let's see here, or you could name it, evidence of dishonor, or you could name it protest, and you could say on there, it identifies the instrument, bill of exchange from City of Glendale, date, blah, 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 account number, blah, 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 and certify that the presentment has been dishonored by non-acceptance. So you send it to them and they say, we're not accepting that type of payment. So at that point, you would just write up basically an affidavit, and it'd be a protest affidavit, and the name of that affidavit would be evidence of dishonor. And that evidence of dishonor affidavit would be admissible as evidence and create a presumption of dishonor. That's what I'm getting from this. So boiling it down to its ultimate simplicity is just an affidavit stating that you performed, and it's the same shit. It's actually really simple. I sent it in and they didn't receive it. Affidavit. And I swear under penalty of perjury that this is true. Signed, notarized. Boom. That's it. Evidence of dishonor. It's that simple. So what I'm getting from this is if you enter in an affidavit into the record with your complaint. So if you write a complaint and then you attach an affidavit to it, you could make that affidavit called affidavit of evidence of dishonor. And you would say, this is a protest. This is a certificate of protest, you could say, of dishonor. And I sent this particular instrument, account number this, or dated this, or instrument number this. And I got this letter that they sent me, which says, fuck you, we're not going to accept this type of payment. And you would just enter that in as an affidavit to attach with your complaint. That's what I get from this so far. That's what I'm getting so far on this. Again, I try to go through every thought with you guys. I'm trying to go through everything line by line, thought by thought, so you guys can kind of see where my mind goes. I'm trying to give you a live at-home demonstration of what I do when I'm reading this stuff, okay? Number 2, a purported stamp or writing of the drawee payer bank or presenting bank on or accompanying the instrument stating that acceptance or payment has been refused unless reasons for the refusal are stated and the reasons are not consistent with dishonor. The problem with this is that what they're talking about here, stamp or writing, would have to conform with the earlier rules that we saw in dishonor, and they're all time-based. So they might show you this and say, oh, we're operating off of 3-505 subsection A2, and you say, well, yeah, but as per the rules, the only thing that you could stamp or write on there would be something involving time or date payable or something. You can't just say we don't accept this kind of payment. That's not part of the rules. That's not part of any reason why this can be dishonored. That's irrelevant. Objection, irrelevant. You'd be surprised how often you could say that. Almost everything that has ever been said in any of my cases is objection, irrelevant. And I'm talking everything. Literally, you can go through all the dockets of my cases, damn near everything, the bar card's right, objection, irrelevant. Now, you want to say more, obviously. You don't just keep saying that over and over again, but I'm just saying, relevance, it's hearsay for hire, which is another great term that we developed for the bar cards. We've got hearsay for hire, which is a great term you can use for the bar cards. We've got irrelevant billables. They're always billing their client. They're trying to have any excuse to write up whatever horse shit. It's all irrelevant. Irrelevant billables is a really great term. I really would like to see more people using that in litigation and stuff like that. It's a hilarious term that inflames the bar card, which is very enjoyable. It's all irrelevant billables. I mean, hell, if you want to make a bar card your best friend, you just let them write up tons of irrelevant billables and help them write up a ton of irrelevant billables. You'll be their best friend. You guys will be going out and getting drinks, and they'll be sucking you off and everything. It'll be great. So that's always a good way to make lots of friends. Okay. I got tons of money coming to these bar cards for irrelevant billables. I mean, they pretend like they hate me. They fucking love me. They want to massage my taint and work my balls and my shaft all at the same time. So going to 3-505, we've got the last point here. Book or record of the drawee, payer bank, or collecting bank kept in the usual course of business, which shows dishonor, even if there is no dishonor, of which made the entry. Some kind of entry system or accounting system involving dishonor of whatever. Okay, good. So that's it on UCC Article 3, Section 5. I may need a little bit of time to do Section 6. After about 3 or 4 days, I start getting pretty antsy. So it'll probably be several days, but we'll get that done, and then that'll be it for the UCC series. I hope you guys are getting a lot out of this. I'm getting a lot out of this. A lot of this stuff is being very, very rapidly translated and placed into our litigation. I do hope that you guys are watching the mini litigation course videos that are on YouTube. I do hope that you guys are on Pacer. I know there hasn't been a whole lot of activity on a lot of the cases. Case 1 has had some activity, but it's been pretty uneventful. I do hope you guys are following along with all of the just everything. I mean, I hope you guys are in Pacer. I hope you guys are downloading things and reading things and looking over the cases. I am learning as rapidly as I can. We are changing things very rapidly. You're going to see our new 2.0 version of what we're going to be doing with all the cases here very soon. It's a very, very different style. It's a lot more interesting. It's going to be pretty wild. I'm very excited to see how they handle this one. And we're just going to keep making shifts and adjustments and keep doing what we need to do to start winning cases. And if it takes me a couple of years, I think at most is what it's going to take to get that done. That's okay with me. I'm having a blast, and I hope you guys are having a blast. And we're just going to keep going, get it done. Okay, guys. See you on part 6.